between, because families are dealing with like real life stuff as adults. Because they're dealing with real life stuff as adults, they're not seeing that these things are impacting the bond that they have with their children. So now you're disconnected from the trauma that your child experienced because you're so focused on handling everything else in your life.
Everything else
and
that
so
comes at
you
you.
also aren't realizing when you're like dismissing them if they come up to you and they're coming to you to bond or ask a question or be curious, and you kind of like, oh, give me a minute. Or like every time I have a kid, I'll be like, so how did that make you feel when, mommy, and they'll say, well, mommy is always busy or she's on the phone. And I'm like, oh.
Right.
I'm like, I'm sure she is, because mommy also has stuff that she has to do. But I'll tell the parents, I'm like, you have to be mindful of that you can be on the phone and handle stuff. But when they're coming up to you and they're seeking attention, that's the moment you give them that moment, because you don't want them to become avoidant where they're like, okay, I can no longer come to this person and express myself.
And so when you're doing your work, you're building that awareness and understanding and educating so that can be something. Because, all families want to do well for their children. They just don't always understand. They didn't see what you pointed out to them.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Daily Store Run Podcast. I am your host, Aaila. I have a very special guest. Why are you looking at me like that? I have a very, very, I always say I have a very special guest, but this is like a next level special guest, because this is Dwaine. You thought I was gonna be extra. No, y'all, this is my dad.
Yes.
Dwaine. How do you feel?
Bianchi.
Okay. See, that's why I asked you, because I knew you were going to, AKA Bianchi, for the fam bam who watches this. They're going to be like, that's Bianchi, that's not Dwaine. Child. So how do you feel being here on my podcast?
I am excited. I am impressed. I am very impressed.
Wait, so what'd you think? I was going to be like,
no, I kind of knew what it was going to be, but seeing it is different.
Oh, okay.
I see it now. So
wait, have you watched the episodes?
Being honest,
put him on the spot. Put him on the spot, Mom. That is not watching.
I promise I will. So, I am more of an audio podcast listener than a video. Only because, I travel. So it's hard to watch podcasts, find time to watch video. I can't get it audio. I guess I could listen to it.
Yes.
But it probably would take away from it, right? Because it's a visual experience as well as an audio experience. Yeah.
I think that's why I was going back and forth on like wanting it to be audio, because I feel like it's different when people are seeing it. Because like I wouldn't listen to a lot of visual podcasts if they had audio.
Right.
Because I would be like so
different
used to watching
context.
How they look and stuff.
Totally.
But let's talk about your podcast. Why are you laughing?
I'm laughing because I think what you're doing is like really, really an amazing experience. And when I look at everything that you've done and your team to put this together, this is really amazing. So,
Tear.
Proud of you.
Tear.
So my podcast is called Journeys of the In Spite Of. And it is a title that I've had on paper and in my mind for years. And it really is just one medium of communicating, what that means. But the Journeys of the In Spite Of really came from when I was at Morgan State University. Knowing that I'm in the great state of Georgia and Atlanta with all these amazing HBCUs, shout out to the Morgan State University. But Journeys of the In Spite Of, one of my professors, when I was a double major, major minor. I started off as a business major, ended up being an education major, minoring in business, because I realized the business that I'd rather be in at that time was an entrepreneur. And I always wanted to teach as well. So I figured, let me teach and figure out what I'm going to do in business. And one of my professors told me when it came time to take my first job, that when I decide on where I want to teach, I can't forget about the in spite of. The in spite of are those, obviously, who don't have all of the resources and all of the background to have the benefits that others have. So someone has to look out for them and us. And so And we are one of the in spite of as
Yeah.
well. So who should help the in spite of more than the in spite of?
I love that though. You just saying it out loud. I honestly first of all, I had no idea that you majored in education. I don't think you ever. Maybe you have told me that because you've always mentioned Morgan, but I don't think you've ever really mentioned what you were there for. You just always be like, I'm a Morgan.
Of course, that's the most important part. And at the end of the day, I mean, the conversation we were having before we started shooting, it's like, whatever you major in really doesn't decide what your journey is going to be in relation to your career anyway. Yeah. Because I was in education. Well, I'm still in education, just in a different part of it.
Correct. See?
Yes. So, I mean, I've had a lot of fun in talking to friends and sharing experiences and talking about their experiences in relation to this journey, in relation to how did some of us overcome obstacles to be successful. And whatever we want to describe as what successful means, it doesn't necessarily mean you made a lot of money. It means you're satisfied with your life. And so really just hearing those stories and sharing those stories. And a lot of the stories are start with themes that are related to kind of like what I would like to see if I wrote my own book about myself. So it's going down some of those pathways that I've thought of, but I've never taken the time to do it. And then, I read a lot. Yeah. And so when I'm reading these different topics, sometimes it inspires me to have a little sit down and talk about it. Either I'm going to talk monologue or I'm going to bring someone with me, one or two people, and we'll talk about it. And then sometimes it's, music is my number one hobby. Yeah. And so sometimes it's musically influenced. I love all kinds of music, so it could be anything. Hip-hop, R&B, 90s, 80s, 70s, 2000s, 21st
Top
century.
5 hip-hop.
My top 5 hip-hop?
Top 5.
That's difficult.
Top 5.
Top 5.
Dead or alive.
Rakim.
Okay.
When I leave Rakim, KRS-One.
Okay.
You see where I'm going as far as my journey.
I love KRS-One, yeah.
I would say Wu-Tang, but that's a group. So I don't know if I could throw them in.
Do you have any? See, that's not a good question to ask. I was gonna say, do you have any favorite members of Wu-Tang?
Any what?
Favorite members of Wu-Tang.
I do. Probably, I like the Jizza and Spectre Deck. Ghostface is my number one.
Okay.
Ghostface is my number one.
Jizza.
And I'd say that Ghostface is my number one because he's longevity. Yeah. His stuff he's putting out now and the way he diversifies, does like the R&B songs. Who?
Over Method?
No, Meth is the man too. But I think Ghostface is more diverse than Meth.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think I'd give it to Meth.
See, now I feel like I need to listen to more Ghostface.
Ghostface is sharp. Ghostface is sharp. I'll share with you. So I was in Singapore. And
always somewhere. There's always one. I was in Singapore. What? How did you end up there?
It's a beautiful place.
Sure it is.
Beautiful place. It's the story's tied to Ghostface. So I was walking down the street in Singapore. It's the safest place, one of the safest places in the world to be. Okay. And that's because a lot of people think that they're strict and they're scared because it's a strict place, but it's not a strict place. If you're doing something dumb, then the consequence there is going to be worse than it is here. But it's really safe. And there's so much, like when I say diversity, I mean international diversity. Okay. Pockets of Arabic, Asian, all these types of places you can go to these different types of communities. But I was walking past the wine bar and they were playing Ghostface mixed with this jazz music. Okay. So of course they had me. I'm like, okay, I know where I'm going tonight. I'm listening.
That sounds cool to have Ghostface mixed with jazz.
It was great.
Do you remember the song?
No.
See,
I don't remember titles.
Not a fan.
No, I have it on my phone.
Okay, so we got Rakim, we got KRS-One,
yes,
Wu-Tang, 2 more.
Wu-Tang, gosh, man, I have to bring some of the new kids in.
You don't have to. It's your top 5.
No, it's because I'm a Kendrick Lamar and J. Cole fan. Okay. They're like, as far as I'm concerned, they're holding up hip hop. Yeah. And this wouldn't be my top 5, but new groups, I don't know if you've heard of them before. Coast Contra.
Oh my gosh, I love them. I love them. Every time I see their stuff on Instagram, I'm like, let me stop and then I keep playing it back because I'm like, yo, that bar was crazy.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Like
lyrically and content and flow.
Yeah, they're
I know.
And it's so like reminiscent of 90s. That's what I think. That's what I like about it, is that it's so reminiscent of 90s.
And what's great about it being reminiscent of 90s, and when you say reminiscent of 90s, what it reminds me of when I think of them is they care about the art of hip hop.
They do.
And you hear it. You can tell that they're coming to this mic on a mission.
Yeah.
And it's good because a lot of people, when they've been in their generation, like we all have our golden years. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you get so caught up on your golden years that you hate other people's golden years. And so I always want to have an open mind because I don't believe that talent has to die. Yeah. And so it's always nice when you see groups like that come out and show. Representing. That's true representation.
I really love them though.
Oh, they're amazing. They're amazing.
And it's like I like their energy when they're in the vibe of these bars. It's like y'all are really feeling this.
No question.
On a different level of lyricism that I don't feel like most mainstream artists are doing. Like they will rap, but they are like hip hop.
They're hip hop.
They are hip hop.
But I have to say this, the reason why top 5 is so difficult, because it's all a vibe. It's like I could say Q-Tip.
Oh, I love Q-Tip. I love Q-Tip. I miss Q-Tip.
He's the man. I could say Phife Dawg, who lived in Atlanta.
Oh, yes. Okay. Mm-hmm. I didn't know he lived in Atlanta.
He's from Queens, but he moved to Atlanta. Once they all got some money, he decided to move down here. So he's a native local. He's a local. It was a local.
I love Mos Def. Wait, so you say?
Oh my God!
Yeah, Mos Def is like my
Mos Def. Oh no! What? I'm glad you corrected.
Yasin Bey. I love.
Come on now, Yasin Bey is the man.
I just.
Yasin
It's like
Bey
his energy just feels so. I've never even met him, but he just feels so. Like you need to meet him.
No question.
Like who is this?
No question.
Person walking this.
Yasin Bey
with this energy.
And then come on now. Nas.
Okay, I love Nas.
And Jay-Z.
I love Jay-Z.
Both.
You know what's crazy though? I didn't. So I like Nas because I was listening to 90s Nas. Yes. But I wasn't used to his non-mainstream stuff.
You mean
I was used to mainstream Nas, but I wasn't used to
You mean like the one he did with
full album
what's
Nas.
his name? Who's that dance guy? I forgot his name.
That dance guy.
Yeah, he was a popular. He made this pop song with Nas one time. What's his? Genuine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. When you say mainstream,
did you say
that's what I
dance
think
star?
Of.
Did you just call Genuine a dance star?
He's a pop star.
You just called Genuine a dance star.
He actually fell off the
That's
stage,
why I'm so confused on the. But it's the fact that you labeled him, the dance star.
Because I put him in the same bucket with P. Diddy, who I'm a fan of.
Don't.
But he's a dancer.
Please stop.
He made you dance.
Genuine was not known for his dancing, though.
But his music was. So you're right. He wasn't known to dance, but his music was known
dance star.
Nah, so
R&B singer,
Genuine. He's not a dance star.
I can't believe you just said you put him in the same thing as P. Diddy.
His music was P. Diddy-like.
It's because he was doing all of them remixes that Diddy was doing.
Right.
I just really can't believe you just said dance star.
He's not a dance star. You're right.
They're going to watch this and be like, he said who?
He made dance music.
He did make dance. Did he make dance music?
Yes, he did. Okay. In that era, when you think about
Pony was dance music?
At a certain time.
Pony, So Anxious. In those jeans.
The one with Nas.
In those jeans.
They play that.
These was not dance songs.
They play that.
These was go home to your partner songs.
That's how they
close
the
late
nights.
at night
That's
on.
How they close the nights.
No, they definitely always close the night with Pony. But that was it was time to go. We don't want y'all to bump and grind too much. So we don't want y'all to start being extra. We're going to put on Pony and then we're going to. Don't stress me out.
You said bump and grind. That's who made the song.
I didn't say bump and grind.
Yes, you did.
Oh, I did say it, but I wasn't representing the song. But that's when they start turning on the light. So it's like, don't get too hot up in here.
I know, right? Yeah,
It's time to go.
It's time to leave.
Home.
Time to leave.
With whoever you leave in here with.
Definitely.
Whoever you met in here.
Definitely. Mos Def.
Yes.
Go back to Mos Def for a second.
Bey.
So I'll give you a couple. I live in New Jersey, used to live in New York, work in New York. Mm-hmm. And I've seen a lot of stars. Some I've probably seen that didn't know who they were.
Yeah.
But where I work. You see a pause, right?
Yes.
It's a it's like a place where stars come all the time, models and all those type of things because there's
Okay.
stores around there, right? So I've seen Ice-T. I've seen what's her name, Brandy.
Okay.
You know I'm a fan
Yeah.
of. I've seen Jay-Z and Beyonce.
Oh yeah, you did tell me that story. I'm so jealous of that story.
I've seen Jay-Z and
I just
Beyonce.
feel like I just need to be with you whenever you're going to any kind of place. Just take me with you in case we run into them again.
I'm telling you, Jay-Z and Beyonce. But I'll tell you what, because you know how we grew up, so it's like I'm not gonna like fanboy anyone.
Yeah.
That's not my style. However, one time I wish I did it and I didn't do it. I was sitting in a restaurant in the city, and Mos Def walked back, and I'm like, I should have fanboyed that moment because that's my guy.
Wait, fanboy like how? Like asking
Man,
for a
like
picture?
yeah, get a picture or something.
That's not fan. I don't feel like that's fanboyish though.
Yeah, you know what
I want a
generation
picture.
Think about I grew up, my generation, you know, in DC.
Yeah, because I was like, I will say that, but when I see someone, I'm like, I don't know if I want to ask them for a picture. I don't want to be
Exactly.
weird, but like, I would love to have a picture.
Yeah. Most
So I can remember this.
He's one of my favorite artists. I should have taken a picture with most.
You should have taken a picture.
I know.
Because who's going to believe you that you?
I know.
Who's going to believe the Jay-Z and Beyonce?
I know.
Other than the other people who were there.
Well, I have written
you
witnesses.
do have witnesses. But I would have definitely asked for a
Oh,
picture.
yeah. But we did ask for pictures, but their bodyguards weren't trying to let us have pictures.
Oh.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're busy. We're on the move.
I did tell you. So I told you. So they were eating dinner with another person.
Oh yeah. They were busy. I remember doing stuff.
And the other person, one of the people with us, asked to take the picture, and none of us knew who she was. It was Gwyneth Paltrow.
Ooh, that's such an interesting person to mention just for that whole situation.
Which situation?
Because there's always
that
been
situation.
speculation around them
Are
and
they
their
really
like
friends?
friendship with
Right.
her, and people being like, "Why are they friends with?"
We were just having a
Paltrow?
casual dinner, enjoying each other's company. It looked
Shallow How.
pretty authentic.
So interesting.
Shallow How? That's right. She was in Shallow How.
Yes.
Yeah, that's. Again,
Why would it be?
I did not know her
Shallow-
during that scenario, and I didn't remember she was in Shallow How.
Yes, it was Shallow. That's the kind of the only movie I could think of with her in it. I know she was in other
What
stuff,
else was
but
she in? I have no
I
idea.
can't. I just know Shallow How because I used to watch that movie all the time. It was like a very odd movie.
Yeah, Shallow How was.
It
good.
was very.
That was the one where when he saw her, she was
Yeah.
her, and then when
Everybody else saw her, she was
somebody
huge.
else.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then
I
he
remember
grew
that.
like this. He had this like tail thing in his backbone. It was so weird.
That was a weird movie.
You should definitely rewatch
That was a
that.
weird movie.
You should rewatch that.
I will. I like looking at the classics. In fact,
Yeah.
I watch the same movies sometimes too often.
Me
like
too.
if Drumline comes on,
Oh, I
I
love
don't know how to turn it
Drumline.
off.
But I can't believe you're sitting there watching Drumline though.
Oh yeah, why not?
Do you relate to the dad in the movie?
Nah, I relate to the school experiences. Whatever, get out of here. All right.
That was a good one.
Oh, that was a good one.
That was such a good one. Oh my! I need to pat myself on the back.
Don't worry, I got
such
40
a
minutes
good
to get
one.
mine
He
in.
said, "But I changed my mind." That was a good one.
That was a good one.
I am really funny.
You are sometimes.
I am always funny.
Once an hour.
I just want people to know that I am the funniest person I've ever met in my life.
I believe you believe that.
I really do believe that. So speaking of, okay, Kendrick, J. Cole, do you listen to Big Crit?
Yes.
I love him.
Big Crit is sharp.
He's like my top 5.
Ooh,
I like his
so-
sound. I like his tone, his flow, like the style of his beats, just the way he puts everything together.
Big
is
Crit,
like,
lyrically, musically, and his content is just ridiculous.
what you think he's doing the rap phone?
He's
Pull it down
sharp.
in the info.
But you want to know who my favorite, that's why it's so hard to have a top 5. My favorite artist I think that ever came out of the Southeast and in this area, but the Southeast and actually nationally. Andre 3000.
Okay, yeah, for sure.
Come on now. 3
Yeah.
Stacks
Yeah.
is the man. And you know who's really good, but I'm not like a humongous fan because I think his cadence is it's boring.
Who?
Killer Mike.
I've never listened to Killer Mike. I'm not gonna lie.
You love Killer
Kind of feel
Mike's
bad
new
saying
album.
that. But you just said you feel like his cadence is boring.
It is. And just
But you should
imagine,
listen to his new album.
but just imagine if I think somebody's cadence is, put it like this, it gets old.
Okay.
If you have to listen to 10 songs of just
Yeah.
him, because he doesn't like change things up
Okay.
much. He follows whatever the beat pattern is.
Oh, okay.
but the music and his content. Oh, if you just read his lyrics, read the lyrics from his last
So what
album.
made you thinking that his stuff was like this before? What made you say like, okay, I should listen to this?
Just friends talking.
Oh, okay.
And somebody's like, everybody said this could be the album of the year, and I'm like,
oh wow, that's huge.
Album of the year. So I had to listen to it.
So if I listen to it,
you'll love it.
And
I may be tainting your opinion because when you listen to his cadence, you're gonna be like, yeah, he was right.
So it does sound like that on the new one?
His cadence is still not great, but the music and the content make it great.
Okay.
That's
maybe why they changed it, because he probably felt like, I want to keep, like, this is my cadence.
I just
like
don't
my
think
thing.
He can do anything different.
But
it's
because it's kind of like
album.
newer artists who have the same kind of style, the same flow on every song.
Right. You some new
but
artists
it be
like
hit
right
because of like the beats
because
and
of the beats.
Yeah, everything around the bars.
So he has the beats and he has the content that would make you fall in love with it.
Okay.
But if someone like this, in fact, I've had this conversation. If Mos Def was rhyming on those beats, it would be like
harder
album of the year for the next 2-3 years.
Cause I love Mos Def's flow.
Oh, his flow is crazy.
Yeah, I like his tone too.
Crazy.
He's very mellow.
He is.
And so I feel like you're gonna get hype, but it's like a different way that you're gonna. He's not like yelling and having to be extra.
And then he'll get tonal.
Yeah.
He'll start like a little singing here. And
Look
there.
at you knowing these words to describe. He wants to be like me so bad. You learned all of these things for me, tonal and stuff. Like you learned these things for me.
That's right.
I just want all of y'all to know that, audience, that he got this for me. I am.
Don't worry, I'll sing for you on the next one.
Yes. Okay, so we got our top 5.
Yes.
So
beyond that, but yes.
Yeah, we definitely went beyond that. And I always feel like when people name their top 5, I feel like Biggie and Pac are like, it's kind of like people, but I feel like they're always the automatic ones where it's like, I just stopped naming them because I feel like, okay, you should already know that Biggie and Pac are always.
I'm not a Pac fan.
Oh, please don't do it, y'all. And cut. What do you mean?
I'm a Pac fan. I think he's good, but I don't think he's as good as people. He's not up there with Biggie. No question. Oh my gosh. And
How not?
I mean, he has a good
He's
voice.
versatile.
His flow is
create
versatile.
Different types of music though. Like it
He's
can be hardcore. It can be
he has
based
some
on
songs
the community.
No. Content wise, like Brenda's has a baby, and even California Love. He has some great hits. But if I put on a Tupac album, if I put on a Biggie album, I mean, from beginning to end, the whole
I would definitely
album.
flow. I mean, I would listen to both, but I would listen to both for different reasons.
Right.
Like for Pac, it's when I want to feel a way about something. I would listen to him. Yeah.
Yeah.
But Biggie, I love Biggie's cadence. I love his flow.
Right.
I love his I don't know, everything about the way it's like a storytelling. Like he's telling a story, and but I also feel like that's just a New York-ish kind of thing in general. Because I feel like a lot of artists from that time, like rap like that. Method Man, was like
a storyteller.
He was, but it was different.
It was different than Biggie, but he was a storyteller. Snoop is amazing. You're not a Snoop fan?
I like Snoop.
Snoop is the
Am I listening to Snoop now?
Snoop still puts out good music.
But I just feel like the New York artists have a different flow of storytelling. Like even from back in the the day, like
they do.
Like before Rakim back in the day. It was like but I also just feel like it was just based on the things that were happening in New York were different than how things were happening everywhere else. So I feel like it was creating more stories for them to tell because of what was happening.
It was creating more stories because it was a creative, diverse melting pot of people and the musical cultures that they came from. Mm-hmm. So like you can hear a lot of Caribbean in early hip hop. KRS-One, you can hear much Jamaican and Caribbean music. If you go to Brooklyn is just the whole Caribbean population dominates Brooklyn. Yeah. So when you hear like Busta Rhymes, you get
story.
That
vibe,
and
he is such a storyteller.
Right. So it's like New York is it's just so diverse and it's like so creative. Atlanta's like that, but like New York was like that back then. Like Atlanta kind of is known to be like this creative hub. Yeah. Even when I'm riding around and looking at the different like shops and stores, and I'm seeing like the naming mechanisms, and I'm like,
Yeah, it's
came
super.
up with
It's
that?
like what in the world?
So it's like I mean, like it or not, see some you like, maybe some you like, that's not for me.
Yeah.
But it seems to be a creative space.
Yeah.
You know, and how many places can you go around the country? There's a lot of creative places, but it's like you get all these people coming together to create.
Yeah.
You know, it's just great to see things like that. But New York
Yeah.
is like,
I
just
love
an
New
amazing
York.
place.
I think New York was my inspiration to. So I always wrote poetry, but like when I started doing music, and I was trying to think of like, okay, I wanna create music that's poetic. Like
Yes.
New York is always the
Have
inspiration
you
around
ever
that.
gone to do slam or anything in New York City?
No, not in New York.
Okay. I know
And
you've
back
done it
in the
here.
I haven't done it
I
here.
thought you did.
No, I did do it
Yeah.
here. It
Yeah.
wasn't a slam,
Well, it was.
but it was
as
like an open mic. Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
I did it here, and I just did it back home.
Okay.
Busboys and Poets was my spot.
Oh, Bus Point Poets. I know you like that place.
That's my
Okay.
spot.
Right.
Shout out to Busboys and Poets.
I think they're bringing one to Atlanta.
I
aren't
hope
they?
not.
I think so.
As much as I love it, I don't want it to be anywhere except for there.
No, you know I met the owner and he's spreading.
No, I don't want him to do
I swore
that.
he said Atlanta.
I don't want it to change the vibe of the original locations.
There's one in Howard County right now.
That just makes me so mad. Because I only go to the one on 14th and V. Like, I've been to the one in Hyattsville and stuff. But
Yes.
14th and V,
Yes,
I think it's because I think that was the first location.
I think so.
So I just feel
Yeah,
like
downtown.
because it's the first one, it just feels different than even the other ones back there.
14th and V. That's right next to U Street.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. It's a perfect place for it.
Perfect
No
location.
question. No question.
Like, I don't want to see
That's
that
the
here.
greatest street
I don't want
in
people here to
DC.
ruin it for me.
Right.
Now y'all taking over my spot and y'all
It's
being
coming.
extra when y'all come here. Like,
It's
but I
coming.
would love, if they did it, I would love to figure out if they're going to do the open mics, and I would want to host them.
See. So that's what you could do.
So I need you to, since you know the owner, I need you
I
to.
don't know him. I just
Okay.
met him.
Well, meet him again and put in a good word.
I might.
No,
see
because
him.
I've been looking for a place out here to do the open mics, because I'm like, there are some, but they're like very pocket. Like
This looks
someone
like a
has
cool
to.
place for an open mic. At least
I want
This
no. I
inside
need
right
like
here
a
looks really
certain
cool.
type of vibe. Like I need it to be very like feel like Busboys and Poets.
yeah.
Like the feel of that space. I want food. I want drinks. I want people to be able to sit and chill.
You can make that happen.
No, I know. That's why I was like, I was
Connect with a
looking at
couple
it. I'm
caterers
not
and
doing
everything,
all of
you
that.
know.
No, I just want to have it at a restaurant. They got food already there and drinks already there. But I really want to host it because I want to get more involved in doing poetry again
Oh, I know.
because I haven't done it in forever. But I want other people to be more involved, and I want to do more stuff for like kids who like to
Right.
do poetry, so they
Right.
can have like. It could be like a family night where it's kids
That's
and
really cool.
families, and the kids can come up and do their thing.
Yes.
Like that would be so cool.
Show it off to the family and the community. No question. No question. We don't
How
have enough.
smart is?
We don't have
Don't
enough
take my
venues like
ideas.
that. Oh, here we
If
go.
y'all take it, make sure y'all let me know
Ideas are out
before
here
you
like
take
this.
it.
The question is who's going to execute on it.
Me,
Then
because
do
I ain't
it.
seen nobody do it, so don't do it. Someone listening, like, damn, that's kind of smart. I should do that. Let me go ahead and do that today.
Pause.
Yeah, pause. She said what? Write that down. But I feel like that would be just great for like family bonding,
Totally.
and then to have like resources available for families who just need like therapy assistance or they
Yep.
just want more guidance when they leave the space.
Yep.
So it's like you get to see your child be creative.
Yeah.
And they get to like see you engulfed in that, and you get resources.
No question.
And y'all get to sit and eat and
That's
chill.
a beautiful thing. We don't have
Like-
enough. We don't have enough spaces like that.
Yeah, especially in Atlanta, because like when my friends come out here, my friend came out here with her daughters, and she was like, she wanted me to like find places to take them.
Yeah.
And it's so hard finding places to
can't
take kids.
believe
I'm like,
that.
where am I gonna take these kids?
Oh, so they don't have a lot of places for kids to go down here?
No, it's more so like adults.
Oh, well. In the city.
Yeah, in the city.
Okay, okay.
I took them to like an arcade or something.
Maybe a museum. Kids museum.
Yeah, and I was like, yeah, I was telling her, I was like,
Museum.
there's like kids museums. They have like a kids slime thing where kids can make slime, but it's
Could be fun.
nothing like. There's no more.
So where else would you find that? Like, I think, so New York does have some creative things, period.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm even thinking of DC. Where would you do that in DC?
Kids stuff?
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
See what I mean?
I'd go into Maryland
Well, yeah.
and do it. Because I also just feel like DC is the same. It's just catered to like older people and people who are.
All of that part of
On
DC.
the move.
No question.
Yeah.
No question.
That's why
But
I
I mean,
love it.
but like even the arts for the kids, like
Oh yeah.
just arts for the kids in general. And you know, arts for the kids has taking a hit in schools because of the over focus on academics. And I mean, arts matter.
Yeah.
Creativity matters. Creativity inspires, and
Yeah.
it's a way for you to get. I know I'm preaching to the choir, but it's a way for you to get your voice out, your inner voice. And when those things aren't available, then you don't have a voice.
Yeah.
And even if you're creating a voice, if you don't have anyone to share it with, then you don't have a sense of belonging. And our community need those type of things.
Yeah.
Struggling to make that happen in safe spaces, and I don't mean safe spaces just because of potential violence, but I mean safe spaces where people can be free to
be vulnerable.
express themselves, right, without having to worry about what someone thinks of them. Yeah, that's a.
I like that people are using that language more though, because I always talk
Vulnerable.
about safe spaces
Yes.
and like what it means, because it's not just about violence and stuff.
It is.
It's
Right,
like,
it's
can
not
these
both.
people express themselves
That's it.
vulnerably
That's it.
and feel seen and heard when they do?
Right.
And you not dismiss them or like,
Exactly, and not feel like they're going to be ostracized or something like that because they're
Yeah.
expressing themselves. Yeah, we need more understanding for that
yes,
in all cultures and within our own.
yeah,
No question.
especially within our own, because
Yeah.
these kids I be working with.
What do you see?
It's just the disconnect between, because families are dealing with like real life stuff as adults. Because they're dealing with real life stuff as adults, they're not seeing that these things are impacting the bond that they have with their children. So now you're disconnected from the trauma that your child experienced because you're so focused on handling everything else in your
Right.
life.
Everything else
And
that
so
comes at
you
you.
also aren't realizing when you're like dismissing them if they come up to you and they're coming to you to bond or ask a question or be curious, and you kind of like, oh, give me a minute. Or
Yeah.
like every time I have a kid, I'll be like, so how did that make you feel when, mommy, and they'll say, well, mommy is always busy or she's on the phone. And I'm like, oh.
Right.
I'm like, I'm sure she is, because mommy also has stuff that she has to do. But I'll tell the parents, I'm like, you have to be mindful of that you can be on the phone and handle stuff, but when they're coming up to you and they're
Yes.
seeking attention, that's the moment you give them that moment, because you don't want them to become avoidant where they're like, okay, I can no longer come to this person and express myself.
And so when you're doing your work, you're building that awareness and understanding
Yeah.
and educating so that can be something, because all families want to do well for their children.
Yeah.
They just don't always understand it and see what you pointed
Yeah.
out to them. But that has to become like, how do we scale that?
Yeah.
We have to get it to a point where it's scalable. And so I'm going to go somewhere with that one, because so you mentioned something to me when you were talking about the topics you wanted to talk about. But one of the, if you talk about one of the things that I think is one of the biggest places that we need to fix in our communities, and I'll even juxtapose it to other communities, is a lot of our communities' youth, and it's generational because it's happened not just in the current generation, don't see the value of the people who've already been there and their wisdom. And I think that's how we get to these places where we don't have enough people who can pass on that information. Like, did you listen to grandma when she was trying to tell you this? Or something like that. Did you listen to auntie? Did you listen to somebody else when they were trying to say, or did you dismiss them as if, oh, they're old, they don't know anything? But if you ask me who one of my greatest teachers was, it was my grandmother. And it was, because I learned wisdom in life through her through her experiences. And I think if I didn't pay attention to her, I would have fell in more potholes than I did.
Why are you like this? So you wouldn't be here today.
I wouldn't. I'd be a different person.
Yeah. So you feel like she helped you break that cycle
She was one of the people that helped me break that cycle.
because you listened, I guess.
Because I listened.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people helped me
Because I'm sure
break the
she
cycle,
said
but
it
she was
to
one of
other
those.
people.
She did. She said it to everybody that she raised. She raised a lot of kids.
Yeah.
I was one of the kids who sat at the table and wanted to know what was on her mind, And then I learned things from it,
Yeah, you are definitely my dad. Because I think growing up, I was always that person where I was just curious to hear what people had to say.
Yes.
And I think it was because I didn't know a lot.
Right. Right.
But like I noticed a lot.
Right.
Ooh, that was a bar.
That was good.
Oh my God, that was.
Can you repeat that?
That was a bar. I didn't know a lot.
Tell the people.
Listen, y'all, I didn't know a lot, but I noticed a lot. I was being attentive because I would like just look at how everyone interacted.
Yes.
Like notice the conversations, especially with them being in church. It was like my grandma, my mom weren't going to church, but like everyone else was.
Yeah.
So being around them, I'd be like, I would have even more questions because I'm like, well, how did you like? What does this mean? And well, why would you do this? Or this doesn't add up to this. Like, and I just feel like everyone was always brushing me off because they didn't have responses for me that would allow me to like learn something deep.
Right.
They would just kind of like dismiss it, and I'd always be like, "Wow, is it me or y'all just kind of y'all just slow?" And y'all.
But you were curious and you wanted answers.
Yeah.
Which I think all of us deserve.
them.
Yeah. We all need them. We deserve it.
It's like I don't understand this.
I think like why, like the answer of why. Some people just don't want to allow that question to be asked.
Especially for kids.
I know.
So one of the things I've noticed working with the families is they would be like, they're always asking questions about things, and I tell them, when parents be like, just do what I just told you to do, and blah blah blah. It's like, but they have to understand the logic and emotion behind what you just said. If you give them a directive, they're going to ask why, because they're not functioning with an adult mind to know that this means this and this is appropriate. Like, so you give them more information so that they can understand.
No question.
But I'd be so confused explaining it because I'm like, well, what if someone gave you a directive
and
you had no idea what it was for?
No,
you would be like, they want me to do what?
Yeah.
Why am I doing this for?
Even in school, the teachers that I didn't do as well in was because they didn't entertain the question why. Just to understand something. But back to families, when mom or dad or uncle or aunt or brother or sister is engaged with a child who's asking a bunch of questions, those questions are teaching the discipline of curiosity and inquiry, everything, which honestly, if you want to connect it to school, that's what school success is.
Yeah.
But you're really teaching them to be thoughtful and curious and not just accept, but, look at information and try to find intelligence in your own way and just don't accept things. Yeah. That's what you're doing for your children when you actually allow them to engage in conversation with you.
Period. That was a bar.
I don't remember what I said, though. You're good at that.
Yeah. I don't remember what you just said either, but I know it was good. But like I definitely have to, I think it's just harder encouraging me being young in my field too. And then most of the parents I'm working with are like older and they have kids, whereas I don't have kids. I mean, they wouldn't know it unless they don't usually ask me those questions, but like sometimes I'll share certain stories with them so that they know that I understand.
How do you overcome that when you first work with a family? You are probably typically younger than anyone that you're working with. How do you break that barrier and create trust, or actually trust and the belief that you know what you're talking about?
I think naturally when I talk, I'm very like assertive and just confident in what I say because I've done the research. So I feel like because I'll go in, like, so especially if I'm having a session and I have like the caregiver involved in the session and I'm working with a child, I just let them watch our interaction. Okay. And so I'll be like, don't say anything. Just watch how I engage them. Watch the things that I say to them. Yeah, I'm showing them. And I feel like when they're seeing it and they're seeing how their child reacts to me, because I'll have parents that are like, she hasn't had a good therapist. She's not really great at expressing herself. I just want to make sure that she likes you. And I'm like, oh, she'll be fine. I know she'll like me. We're going to bond. And so when they see it, they're able to sit back and be like, okay, I like how you did that. Like they'll say like, I would have never thought to say that to her. Or like, I would have never imagined to recognize that or ask that question in that way to like help her be more curious about who she is or whatever. And I'm like, so I feel like when they see me do that, they're trusting that I'm capable in that moment. And I always do that every first session. I'm like, just let me engage.
Remind me, I have an idea. Later conversation.
Another idea? This is like the 100th idea that you say that you have for me, and nothing has ever moved forward. I'm just concerned at this point. I just want you to share the idea with me and then you give it to somebody else.
No, I'm not going to tell you. We'll figure it out. It'll work out.
See, that's the sign. Yeah. See, but I feel like if more, because I know I talked about this before, but we were talking about how like therapists is like dating or finding a therapist is like dating. You kind of go through the motions of finding someone who relates to you, especially if you're Black, because you don't want them to be too relatable where they're like talking to you like your friends.
Right.
But you don't want them to be too far gone where they can't really relate to the circumstances of life right now.
Right.
So I feel like I have that medium where like I'm not older, so like I can't really give you that. I can give you perspective on how you can utilize that type of wisdom when working with your child. But I feel like because I'm in the culture right now and I'm seeing how the kids are engaged in the culture right now, it's like I'm using more of that in it. Because I'm like, the kids are seeing what's happening with this generation, whereas the parents may not be involved in what that looks like.
So what you're saying reminds me of something that I realized. I'm in the business world, right? And I realized when I'm reading business books, I'm like, am I reading a business book or a book on relationships? It's really all
about
the same.
Yeah, it's all about
everything that we do is about relationships, you know? So whatever business we're in,
it really is.
It's the relationship, you know? Your camera guy is capturing the best
I was about to say, that's a relationship.
You know what I mean?
I had to get comfortable with him.
Exactly. It's all a relationship. Everything's
it is.
A relationship.
And that's why I feel like people should be just more mindful of this idea of like detaching from people who could like help them progress.
Detaching from them, or
because I feel like some people get in the rhythm of on Twitter it's like this whole thing with detachment. They're like, I can detach from people like this, and it's like, well, that's not like
I see what you mean.
That's not cute.
It takes the relation out of it.
Yeah,
it makes it a lot more curt and a lot less emotion connected.
Yeah,
no question.
So then you're not even seeing that this person could be there to like help you propel in something else.
It's a myopic reality.
Ooh, I need to Google that. A myopic reality. I'm gonna Google that. What does that mean?
Myopia is a state of confusing reality for something that actually isn't. It's like almost near insanity. I learned that from writing music.
What?
I used to have a song called Myopia. Yes.
Well, give me a bar.
I don't remember it.
Yes, you do. Wow, he's not going to give us a bar of his old song Myopia. So make sure I just try to find it.
It was something about living in the mind of myopia. You're in your own mind of utopia, and it was somewhere else. I can't remember what it was.
It was somewhere else.
It was somewhere else. Long time ago.
I like that word though, myopia.
It's a great word because it's for people who basically have a distorted reality.
Yeah.
And you have a distorted reality if your reality and your relationships are coming from social media. Ooh. It's the truth.
Y'all, that's a big one.
The truth.
I mean, most people are living life on social media.
It's not real.
And that's why I hate it for these kids, because they aren't able to use discernment and discern from reality and what's not actually real. Exactly. So I feel like there's someone else that mentioned this, like the social responsibility and things that you post. Or people are like, that's not my kids. And that's your responsibility and what your kids watch. But it's like you still have a responsibility to understand that everyone is not going to take what you're putting out in the way that you're probably intending.
No question.
Especially if they don't have discernment, then they're probably going to take everything that you say for face value, and try to apply it to their own life. And it's like, this is not This is not meant for you to do.
And if you don't have the vocabulary and syntax to actually figure out what's being said in those words and what do they mean, not that you could do that just solely by word anyway, because usually you need to see somebody's disposition to figure out what they meant by it anyway.
True. Yeah.
But there was something I was going to tell you connected to that. It was about because you talk about things that stick with me. Mm-hmm. I'll give you something that sticks with me, and it's tied to social media. 1996. 1996 is the year that especially young girls that became preteens in 1996. Grew up on Instagram.
Huh?
They grew up on Instagram.
In 96?
They were born in 96.
Oh, I'm like...
If they were born in 1996 or after, then by the time they became a preteen, Instagram...
Yeah, they were... Yeah. Ooh, that's so terrible.
Think about what Instagram and reality and relationships and what we're talking about, especially for women, does to women. So, when I talk about the wild child,
Who's the one? Sure.
That's Nerea.
Oh.
It's like...
yeah.
It's like, you got to be careful of that.
Yeah.
because that changes, especially women. You know, in so many ways, because it's like your self-esteem becomes based on what people and what you're seeing on Instagram.
Yeah.
You know, and that's a distorted reality.
Which is so
that's
unfortunate.
myopia.
It's so unfortunate.
It really is. It really is. And
I
that's
hate it.
and that's it's not that. And I'm not saying no social media. I'm on social media. It's about how do you control it, or how do you become accountable for how you use it, and at what age should you be able to use it in certain types of ways. I mean, I don't think personally, I don't think any kid with the social media that's out now, unless they made something specifically for kids, I don't think any kid under 13 should be on Instagram.
I don't want anybody under 15 on it.
Yeah, I was being conservative about saying
Like
13.
it stresses me out, especially with just how people are able to, like, with the AI stuff, and they're able to like get
That's
their
next level
images
right
and
now.
stuff. It's like, oh no, no, thank you. I don't. Nope.
Exactly.
I don't want no images.
Yeah.
That's why I kind of feel the way about people who like. This may sound crazy, because I don't know if they are using their children. You know, all the kid pages where like the parents are
to promote their business or something.
Yeah, it'll be like their business, or they're funny, or they're
Right.
like really cute kids, and they just keep making videos and videos of them.
Right.
I do not like those
I don't
pages
either.
because I'm like, I can't tell if they are.
If it's like exploitation. Or
Yeah,
if it's
exploitation.
Like truly genuine or something.
And then I'm like, you're having this child recording how much content like this.
Right.
They shouldn't have to be doing this. They should just play and be kids and not sit and have your phone in their face because they're doing something adorable. Let y'all enjoy that moment together.
But connected to that, here's so this is the challenge of the current generation. Every generation usually has it harder than the next, but I think it's like it's exponentially harder today because technology, AI, streaming, social media, like it all came at such a fast pace and moved so fast that as adults are trying to figure out what does it mean and how to control it.
Yeah.
The kids are growing up.
They already,
they're the experiment.
They know how to use it.
Right.
How do you use it?
They're the ones who are being experimented with it. But I'm going to tell you something. So I'll give you an example. Netflix CEO, who's a brilliant guy. So I'm in business.
You're so annoying. Like you keep saying.
So one thing I pay a lot of attention to is competition. And when I say competition, when I think about McDonald's, I don't mean Wendy's. Netflix competition is your sleep. Netflix doesn't want you to sleep.
Yeah.
Because the longer
Are
you're
you
awake,
still
the more
here?
money they make.
Yeah.
And that's the same for social media. But that also means that if you're watching streaming, which I watch streaming, I have a bunch of favorite shows. So again, and if you're on social media, but if that makes up the majority of your awake hours when you're not responsible for something, that means you're not curious, you're not having conversations, you're not building relationship with friends, you're not reading books. All of those things.
And we know people ain't reading these days.
Exactly. It's worse than it was before because now entertainment on streaming media and social media, even though books were a problem before, now they're a problem even more.
Yeah.
And again, I'm always gonna social media streaming. I'll probably watch something on streaming media tonight. Watch Tyrone again because that's a great movie.
Gosh. Yeah.
Did you see it?
I did. It was long.
It's great.
It was long.
It was long.
It was very
great.
long.
It was great.
It was very long.
Did you like it?
I watched it twice because I think I didn't get
You didn't pay attention to the whole thing?
No, I did, but like I had to go back and watch it and was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that was a pretty good.
Oh, because I didn't realize when I watched the first time that the original him was the scientist that he saw, and I completely missed it. I thought that he was just another one.
Creating himself over and over.
That's
crazy.
crazy.
But Jamie Foxx is my favorite.
I love him. I was just still concerned with the whatever happened with him, and people were like, "Oh, he did this because of the movie," and I was like,
"Never find out." No, it's not connected to the movie.
But that's why I was like, I would hope that people aren't going that far where you're like, let me do this for the movie.
Right.
I feel like that's when you go way too far outside of your morals and values.
I don't believe he did that. I think whatever he went through was real. He probably was trying to hide whatever it is from people.
I think it just coincidentally came at the same time that
he had a heart attack or something, right?
Okay, I don't remember.
I think so.
I don't know.
I don't follow entertainers. I just watch their shows.
I love Jamie though.
Jamie's a
I
great.
just love Jamie because in Living Color. I love in Living Color.
Oh,
Jamie.
in Living Color, yes. In Living
He was
Color
just
with Jamie
so
Foxx.
funny.
Even on his Jamie Foxx show.
I mean, he was funny as heck on there too. I really
On
love
what?
him
On what
on
movie?
that show.
Oh, on that show, he was
great in Booty Call. That's
right.
that. Like I was like, I wish I could have met that Jamie Foxx.
That
He said,
guy is
"Motherfucker, was you waiting for me to
funny.
turn into a butterfly?"
Right.
Like he was just next level funny.
He's hilarious. Jamie Foxx is funny. I just saw on Instagram there was a reel of him doing a dance off with the other guy that was on the Jamie Foxx show. You know, the tall, light skinned guy that worked at the
Oh yeah,
hotel.
Braxton.
They were doing
Yeah.
a dance off. They were funny as
I had to see that. It was like now, like them now at this age.
No.
Oh.
It was a flashback from one
Oh,
of the shows.
okay,
one of the
okay.
episodes. Yeah,
I
'cause
love
what's
that
his name
show.
again? What's the tall guy's name?
Braxton.
Braxton, because Braxton was doing like opera dances.
Oh yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. I was about to say he was like wandering around the hotel being silly. That was when television was just
Good shows.
yes.
So I know you.
I be feeling so old when I say that because people are like, "How old are you that you still thinking
Martin
about?"
is your favorite show of all time, isn't it?
I tell everyone that, and people just don't believe me. I'm like, no, I really love that show.
That's a great show.
I feel like I've mentioned it on every episode.
Yeah,
So
can't go
hopefully
wrong with
Martin
Martin.
sees me, and he wants to be on this
That,
podcast.
I don't know. I wonder where Martin lives. Martin's from Washington D.C.
He is, but I think he lives in Cali or something. I feel like he
That's
lives
smart.
in Cali. I feel like they all moved to California.
Nothing wrong with that.
There's not.
Nothing at all.
So speaking of Martin, 'cause we have a few minutes left. So you overcame the generational patterns. Some. I mean, yeah, because you can't
You never
really.
overcome
No one's
them
going to
all.
overcome
There's
all of
some
them.
you don't want to
Yeah.
overcome, but continue.
I want to overcome them all.
All of them.
Every single one.
Part of it.
Within the
parts of it
capacity that I
make you-
can. Yeah.
Right.
I guess that when I'm like triggered, I'll notice it. Because I feel
Right.
like you have to be triggered. I think that's the good thing about being triggered sometimes. Is that when you are triggered is when you notice what bothers you.
Yes.
When you're not triggered, I mean, things can be like, either it's good because people are encouraging your growth, or it's bad where people are just keeping you content with just what you
Yes.
know and you're not. It's just a very interesting.
No, that's deep.
Life is just very interesting to
It
me.
really is. So a book I'm reading by this guy who's his name is Mo Gaudat. He I think he was the CEO. If he wasn't the CEO, he was high up in Google. Google when they used to do like the experimental making of balloons to try to create Wi-Fi in countries without access and things of that nature. But he's a brilliant guy. And I'm reading this book now where he's talking about triggers. And he's talking about how you control your brain so you don't get caught up in these negative triggers, which, you know, that's your profession. And it's interesting because when he makes you practice something, you see, oh, that worked.
Yeah.
You know, it's pretty interesting that you can control where your thoughts go,
Yeah.
you know. But
And it's definitely hard.
it is hard.
Such a work in progress.
It is hard.
Because I'm still working on it too.
Yeah.
It just depends though on like the situation. But again, I feel like because when if I'm not being triggered because people are like helping me evolve and we're having conversations and we're deep, so it's like no one is really taking me there.
Yes.
But I feel like the people who take you there are the ones who haven't experienced like any type of growth in their mindset. So they're more likely to trigger you because they don't know what it feels like themselves to be
Right.
triggered.
Right. That's very possible.
The world is just a big ball of just stuff. That's why I always tell like my clients, like when I have the parents come in and they're like, I just feel so bad because I didn't know this, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you have to let go of the shame that you're carrying for not knowing.
Right.
Because now that you know, you can be more cognizant of when you are triggering
it.
your child.
That's it.
You're not going to know if everyone else around you is doing the same thing and
That's
it's
it.
negative or unhealthy. It's like y'all are just sitting in dysfunction and no one is prepared to like, hey, maybe we should stop this. This is not actually helpful.
Definitely. No
People
question.
get on my nerves.
Have to forgive yourself, though.
Yeah.
You have to forgive themselves.
Find
Well,
acceptance. in
once you
situations.
know
Yeah.
and you still don't do what you should do, then it's really you.
Yeah.
Right. Or once you know you should be seeking and you aren't seeking, it still is you.
Yeah.
Because, you know, we know a lot of people who, you know, age and never change, but you know they have the capacity to change and they know they
Yeah.
should. They just don't.
They just don't.
You know, that's
Those people stress me out. That's when I realize like I have to control my triggers in those moments because I have to be understanding and empathetic to other people's journey at the same time.
Right.
That like you may not have experienced the things that other people experience to getting them to that point. And everyone's getting to that point is totally different.
different times, different ways, different paces, right? Exactly.
Be patient.
But what I want us to become is a community that's like the monarch butterfly.
Okay. And what
So-
kind of community is that?
So, a guy I used to work for at another job.
You're so annoying. They're going to be like, what does he do? It's giving Tommy from Martin. What does this man do?
So I Google Bianchi. Though. Give it out of name. So, a guy I used to work for, really, really cool guy, smart guy, and he told me one time he was raising butterflies, and I'm like, raising butterflies. I'm like, I'm a nature person. I like being out in nature, but I'm like not a
How do you
insect,
raise
animal, all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. I like animals in the nature. I don't like them in my house.
Yeah.
So he was raising monarch butterflies in the backyards with nets because the monarch butterfly was moving closer to extinction.
Okay.
And I'm like, well, where'd you get this passion? What is it about the monarch butterfly? And he was giving me some of the history of the butterfly and what makes it special. So what makes the monarch butterfly special is when a monarch butterfly is born, it's born within its DNA knowing that it needs to continue the journey of its culture. And its culture is to find its way south in the southern part of Mexico.
Okay.
And so the butterfly only lives for so long, so it never makes it to the end journey. It takes multiple generations to get to the end journey. And what that means to me is there's part of us is embedded in our DNA that will continue because it's a part of our DNA.
Yeah.
But we need to think about multiple generations to get to where we're trying to go. Because you're not going to get to Mexico overnight.
Yeah.
Not from Northern California.
That was a bar. We are the monarch butterfly
To be the
community.
monarch.
It's going to take a lot of us to get to the journey.
I'll fly back to Glenmont, where we all belong.
See, you just had to go there. I don't know how we ended up there. So what messages do you have for the people to remember? I feel like that last one was really good with the monarch butterfly. Because I feel like that could also be like familial, like within the household.
No question.
Yeah.
It's the household. I mean, I just think, I guess my takeaway of my last message would be simply that our culture, we talked about this already, but I think it's worth repeating, need to become more open to allowing people to become an experiment on whatever they want to do or whomever they want to be or whatever they want to become. Because I think that our culture, when you actually go back to, coming in this country, being enslaved, and having someone having power over you, and then actually going through a process. One of my podcast episodes is about this book that I can't remember the name of the book, but this book is about a family protecting their son, and they protect their son by keeping him away from actually being curious and experimenting because they're worried about his safety, because they're worried about the community around him, and the lack of love for the color of his skin, especially the blacker you are. And so we need to just get rid of some of these DNA habits that we unfortunately learned from being enslaved and being held back from being free mentally and physically. And we're still holding each other accountable to those same situations. So like in that, you had asked me a question, in that Kendrick Lamar song, what was the name of the song again? You mentioned it earlier.
I did.
You did.
I mentioned the Kendrick Lamar.
Kendrick Lamar's last album, he has this song that's about generational curses.
Okay.
And we're still carrying on these generational curses of holding each other back as either statements of pride or statements of protection. And it's not allowing us to grow.
Yeah.
So I just want everybody to be able to express themselves and become whomever they want to be.
Yeah.
That's it. So
Don't he sound like me?
definitely.
He talks. They gonna be like, he talks just like her on this episode. He gets it from me, y'all.
It's vice versa, but yes.
This is time from him being around me. He's learned these things. You're so welcome.
Thanks for all the classes.
You're welcome. Thank y'all for tuning in to another episode of the Daily Store Run podcast. Make sure you follow, like, subscribe, comment, share your thoughts on this amazing intellect. And I will see y'all next time. Peace.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for watching my episode of the Daily Store Run podcast. I hope you liked it. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe.